few more in the lobby, but they'll come on in. Good evening, and welcome to our political forum. This is hosted by the Coffee County Republican Party. And my name is Greg Sandlin. It's my privilege to serve as chairman of our county party. Thanks to all who contributed their time and energy to make this happen tonight. And thanks to the candidates who have served or would like to serve the citizens of our great cities and counties. The Republican Party exists to hold up our conservative principles and find candidates who adhere to those principles and hold them accountable to be consistent in practicing those principles. So what are our core conservative principles? The new Speaker of the U.S. House, Mike Johnson, recently summarized them really well. We believe in individual freedom, limited government, the rule of law, peace through strength, fiscal responsibility, free markets, and human dignity. And thank you all for attending and engaging in this process tonight and submitting questions for the candidates. If you didn't submit questions for the candidates, there's still time. Get in those boxes. We are a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And for our government to work, it takes the people being engaged, staying informed, and contributing your ideas at every level. And that's why we're here tonight. So the plan for the night, we're going to start with a prayer followed by a pledge. So please stand while Pastor Tony Buchanan offers a prayer and then followed by a pledge.
Let's bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this great country that you have given us the privilege of being a part of. Father, I just ask you right now to bless our political process, bless the candidates that are now running for office, and I ask you, Father, to give them wisdom as they run their campaign, and then give them wisdom for those that win, Father. And I just ask you right now that you give each candidate the right answers. Father, if there's any kind of things that needs to be brought out, Father, that they would be able to see your wisdom in those places. Father, I just ask you right now to put the right people in the right place in the right offices. And Father, tonight as we do this meeting, Father, as we talk and we debate things and we talk about questions that we have, Father, that we do it with the understanding that all things should be done in love. And Father, we do want to love one another. We thank you for that. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Pastor. And next, our Pledge of Allegiance by Marlo.
Please join me as we face our flag with right hand over heart, cap removed and right hand over heart. And recite our pledge, or remind veterans that we are authorized to render a hand salute during the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Lamar. Now you need to see it. Just some real quick rules and introductions. We originally had planned on Josh Peterson to be our moderator, but he had to bail for a sporting event, I believe, a basketball game right next door. So we have the infamous Rob Carter. And thanks for stepping up to that, Rob. You can go ahead and take your seat, Rob. You've got a mic up there. And it's one switch to turn it on. Even I can figure that out. So thanks, Rob. And then I'm going to invite these. We're going through. There's 3 contested races, real quick, that we're going to. And all those candidates will be setting up here. Go through the candidates, and then the non-contested races are going to give those candidates an opportunity just to introduce themselves to you. Those that could attend tonight. So, starting with the Coffee County Commission seat, District 2. Sadly, we lost Claude Morris, a good friend of many of us in this room. We lost Claude, and this is a seat to fill that vacant spot. So, the candidates, Mr. Benton Brown, Mr. Roger Chambers, and Lee Sullivan, go ahead and take the stage. You guys are up first. And at this point, I'm just handing you over to you. Oh, I've got to give you guys a microphone. This is your microphone. questions. That might help.
Test, can you hear me on this one? Welcome, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started, gentlemen. So, first thing we'll do is you have 3 minutes for an opening statement. Go ahead first.
Good evening. My name is Benton Brown. I don't know if this thing's working or not. Can you hear me out there? I'm Benton Brown. I live on Lincoln Street. I'm a resident of Manchester. All right, there we go. How's that? I'm a police officer with the city of Manchester. I've been with the city about 8 years. I was an SRO for 5 in all our city schools. I have the unique opportunity of being with the public all day, every day, and hearing what they have to say and what they would like to see for their community. And I've taken those thoughts and ideas, and here I am. I'm a candidate for District 2 for County Commission. And I will say, I know Roger well, I know Mr. Sullivan. Both of these gentlemen would be great candidates. I know I'm supposed to be talking about me, but I just want to point them out that any decision that's made will be a great one. I just appreciate the opportunity to run for the seat. I hope I serve it well if I'm elected, and please feel free to reach out. At the end, I will give everyone my email address and my address if you want to come by the house, and we'll have a cup of coffee and have a conversation. Thank you.
Hello. Can you hear me? Thank you, Mr. Brown. Mr. Sullivan, you have 3 minutes, up to 3 minutes for an opening statement, please.
My name is Lee Sullivan. I was born and raised here in Manchester, raised in Coffee County, out in Hillsborough area. Lived here most of my life outside of college and moving away and going to MTSU and where I met my wife, who's from West Tennessee. When we decided to start our family, we decided to come back to Coffee County because I was very proud of where I was from. I was glad to come back here. We've been back here since 2002, and I have an insurance business in Tullahoma that I own and operate. I'm a member of the Manchester City School Board. And just talking through when Mr. Morris passed away, talking through with friends and family, I put him for this position too, not knowing who else was putting in for it. The 2 other guys that are running against me are very good guys. But I bring an aspect from the business side of it. I own and operate a business. I have been involved in budgeting, been involved in budgeting with city schools and other charitable organizations as well. But I'm just here to try to represent the other citizens in our district and do my part. Participate.
Much. Okay, so we do have some questions that have been submitted by our attendees here. These really lovely Valentine's themed boxes. I'm going to read the questions. We'll rotate back and forth. You want to start first? Okay, we'll start. Well, y'all keep me straight though. And you will have 1 minute and 15 seconds to respond. We have an official timekeeper here. Give me just a moment to see if I can read this. Okay, here we go. Lee, upon being elected, will you as a county commissioner be a person that listens to all sides and make your own decisions and not be a follower?
Absolutely. My purpose of doing this is to represent the citizens of our district, our county, and I'm just one person. I have to read, process, and digest information, and then through consultation with other people, determine what I feel is right for our city and county and our district. So I would absolutely take the advice of other citizens.
Thank you. Mr. Brown, would you like
Me to repeat the question?
I think I'm good.
Gotcha.
I agree with what Mr. Sullivan said. I would take the opinions of everybody on the board, listen to all sides, and determine what I think for the people of my district and the county would be a good decision. I am a person of my own mind and my own words. I'm not going to be a follower. I'm going to be a person that speaks out and wants to be heard. And I only do that for the people that I represent in my district. So if there's a situation that comes up, obviously there will be with the county commission, I'm going to listen to everybody. I'm not going to pick sides. I'm going to do what's best for the county and best for my district. And as Mr. Sullivan said, consult others that are smarter than me and go from there and make the best decision I can. Up here? Can you hear me now? Maybe it's just me. Gotcha. Sorry, I'm not very technological.
Thank you. Okay, so you'll be next.
Yep.
So keep the microphone. Well, now I'm doing it. It's a fine line. I talk like this. What needs does the district that you hope to represent have that some other districts do not have?
That's a really good question. Very little of District 2 is in the county. County roads obviously need to be improved. I've ridden some of them since our last big snow and ice, and some of the county roads in District 2 are not up to where they should be. I would like to see improvements with county roads. I'd like to see improvements with this school, as a matter of fact, is in my district, is in District 2. Maintenance done to the building, better security, just every district is unique in itself. Without starting to mumble, I would just say, more interest in the high school and upgrades and security and layout and just improving our roads, because District 2's roads right now are not the best in the world.
Mr. Sullivan, you want me to repeat that? Hold on just a second. What needs does this district, meaning the district that you hope to represent, have that some other districts do not have?
Once again, to reiterate what he said, our district being in the city has a little different issues than maybe other districts, but the schools, the roads, being ready for the growth that's going to come, the infrastructure, and being able to do that within a budget and not have to ask the citizens and taxpayers for more money.
Very good, thank you much. Just hold on to the microphone. Next question. Will you be willing to study the county budget and follow the money?
Absolutely. I think that's probably the one of the things that I do well. Owning and operating a business, working within the city school board, I've been able to be a part of budgets, be a part of looking and making sure we are spending our dollars wisely and making sure those last and we don't have to ask for more.
Mr. Brown, same question. Would you like me to repeat it?
I think I'm good. Appreciate
Okay,
it.
thank you.
Absolutely. If we follow the money, we're going to find that there's wasteful spending somewhere, whether it be small or large. I would follow the money, and I would take that money and place it where it needs to be, whether it be the rainy day fund or put it in a maintenance bill or something. I'm not good with budgets like Mr. Sullivan would be, so I would need a little help. I may holler at you, Lee. But absolutely, I would definitely follow the money and see where we can improve on spending and saving.
All right, very good. Thank you. Just hold on to the microphone. Next question. As a county commissioner, are you going to support the county employees having fair market wages and not be underpaid?
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I'm running for, is to take care of our county employees. I've seen in several county departments where the guys and gals are not getting paid what they should be. I've had this conversation with many people. We hire people, we train people, we buy them their uniforms, we send them to school for specialized classes, and then we lose them to other counties or cities around us because they offer better benefits and more pay. I strongly, and we'll say it loudly, we have to take care of our own. We have to make sure that they can go to Walmart or the dollar store and aren't trying to figure out how much money they have in the bank to buy their groceries. Things aren't cheap. I myself, I work for the city. I'm very fortunate. I get paid well, but it's still expensive. And I've talked to county employees who aren't as well off or as blessed as I am, and they have families to take care of, and they're making $15 or $16 an hour in a 2024 time. I mean, things are not cheap. We have to take care of our own. We have to make sure that they are safe and happy in their jobs. We have to make sure that they are paid well. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Mr. Sullivan, would you like me to repeat that question?
One more time. I think I got it.
As a county commissioner, are you going to support the county employees having a fair market wage and not be underpaid?
I will. I think from our aspect and my track record of working with Manchester City School Board, we've done exactly that. Try to make sure our city school employees are paid well. And the county is no different. We need to make sure that we can do the research or surrounding counties, surrounding areas, see what pay is for those similar type positions, and make sure that we are adequately compensating the people that we have here that are doing those jobs to keep them here in our county and our city.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Next question, it will be to you. Will you be willing to visit every department and county office to know the functions of each?
That's something I would have to do because there are a lot of departments. Like I said, this is where my competitors have more experience than I do in safety and policing and in fire, and as well as working in relation with some of those other departments. I would have to spend more time getting to know each department and find out what their jobs entail and what goes along with that and how I could help in any way.
All right, thank you. Mr. Brown, same question. Would you like me to repeat that?
Please.
Hold on, I got to figure out what I did with it. Here it is, I got it. Will you be willing to visit every department and county office to know the functions of each?
Absolutely. To do my job to the best of my ability, I have to know what the jobs of others are. So I would absolutely visit every department head and elected official in the county and sit down with them, or have them point me in the direction of somebody who knows that office and learn it inside and out. Because I couldn't make informed and educated choices on the county commission if I didn't know what I was voting for or how that particular department ran. So yes, I would take the time to visit every department and learn how they work.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Next question goes to you. Upon being elected as a commissioner, will you take your CTAS classes to learn overall views of county government?
Whatever the seat requires. As a police officer, I'm required to go through certain classes every year. And as a county commissioner, whatever is required of me to fulfill that seat and fulfill it to the best, I would CTAS, industrial boards, whatever it needs to be, I'm more than willing to take the time to go and do those classes.
Thank you much, Mr. Brown. Pass the microphone down. Mr. Sullivan, would you like me to repeat that question?
One more time.
Upon being elected as a commissioner, will you take your CTAS classes to learn the overall view of county government?
I will. Just like in other boards and things I've served on in the past, there's always training that has to be done. And I want to do those trainings so I'm better positioned to fill the seat that I'm seeking.
Good. Hang on to the microphone. This next question comes back to you. As a county commissioner, will you be willing to be available to talk with the citizens and the employees of the county?
I'm always available. Like I said, I live here in the city. I own and operate a business in Tullahoma. I'll be glad to give anybody my email, my phone number at any time, anybody that's concerned. I'd be glad to listen to what they have to say, research it, process it, and see if there's a way we can handle it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sullivan. Mr. Brown, would you like me to repeat that question?
Would you please?
As a county commissioner, will you be willing to be available to talk with the citizens and the employees of the county?
Yes. I represent not only the constituents of District 2, but I would also represent the employees of the county. So if they want to speak with me, if they need to have a conversation with me about anything, whether it be the citizens or the employees, I am readily available. My phone's on 24/7. I literally live right down the street. So they're welcome to my house anytime, day or night. We'll have a conversation, drink a cup of coffee, and find a suitable answer.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. This is the last of the questions that were submitted from our audience here tonight, and it goes to you first. Being a county commissioner, you can be a leader and not a follower. Being a county commissioner, can you be a leader and not a follower, being influenced to old ways?
I believe I could do that. The old ways worked in the old days. This is 2024. We've got to open our minds up to different opinions from different people and different ideas. I can be a leader if given the opportunity. I can also guide the leader in listening to other people if I'm not able to take that position. The good leader is also a good listener and can take things a lot of different ways. So I believe given the opportunity, I could lead Coffee County and not get into the old way of doing things and open our eyes to new and better ways.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Mr. Sullivan, second question. If you want me to read it, I got to get it back out.
I think I can.
Okay, thank you. I prematurely put that away.
I agree with Mr. Brown. Once again, I've said this over and over. I'm the kind of person that has to, when something's brought to me, I need to read it, process it, digest it, and consult with other people that may know more on those matters than I do. Then I have to make my own decisions. And one of the things I do, I feel like I do well is when I pick something and go with it, I'm able to tell people how I feel and why I feel that way and why I think that's that right way. I'm not one that's just going to follow along with the grain. If it's not something I believe in or something that I feel like we should do, I'm going to tell them, I'm going to let them know why I feel that way.
Very good. Gentlemen, that concludes the questions that we received from the audience tonight. You each have 2 minutes for a closing statement to talk to the voters of Coffee County.
Once again, my name is Lee Sullivan. I'm just a concerned citizen. I'm not a politician. I don't have an agenda. I honestly love living in this city, love living in this county. I know growth is coming, and I want to help us be prepared to be ready for that stuff when it comes, and be prepared before it gets here so we're not caught with our hands down and have to do that within the scope of the budget that we have offered, so we don't have to go to citizens and ask for more money. Thank you for the opportunity, and I appreciate it. And once again, these two gentlemen running against me, they're both great candidates as well. I don't think you can go wrong, and I appreciate it.
Well, Lee, I don't think I can follow that, buddy. I echo what Lee says. I'm not a politician. Honest to God, I thought about doing this one night sitting on my couch at home talking to my wife. I'd had a conversation with several people throughout the day while I was on shift, and I was sitting there thinking about it and said, you know what, there's a seat open, I'm going to throw my hat in and see what happens, and here I am. I appreciate the opportunity, if given, to represent you guys in District 2 and in the County Commission. We have to stay within our means, and we have to be ready to grow and not outgrow ourselves. So, again, what Lee said, I echo. We have to be responsible, we have to be thoughtful, and we have to take care of our own. And if we can't do that, then we're going to fail, and I don't want us to fail, and I don't think you guys do either. So please, again, Roger's not able to be here. He's a great candidate. Lee's a great candidate. I don't think you're going to go wrong with either one of us. I appreciate your time. Please remember to vote, and early voting starts the 14th. So, you know, BB, Lee Sullivan, LS, we're all good. I'm trying to take my time here. Thanks, guys. I appreciate your time. Again, either one of us is going to be good. So, y'all have a great night.
Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate your willingness to serve. Greg, you want me to call the next group up, or is that you? I believe next we're going to have the candidates for the assessor. Oh, that's good.
We're going to change out the name tags and just give us a couple minutes and we'll be good to go. Oh, and comment about Roger. Roger Chambers was in a car accident long ago and still is pretty banged up. So he regrets he couldn't be here. I didn't know that before the meeting, but yeah, he could not be here tonight. And he is still running for the seat.
Check 1, 2.
While they're trying to make the sound even better, let's ask our property assessor candidates to come on up. They're going for a 4-year term, 3 candidates going for 1 seat. Ms. Jenna Almacher, Alyssa Keel Fletcher, and William Hill Goldstein. Coming up and grab your seats and we'll have the sound figured out here in just a minute.
Test this mic.
Okay, Rob, it's all yours.
Thank you all for coming this evening. We're going to start off. We'll start here on the left, and you each have 3 minutes for an opening statement.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jenna Almacher. I am the current Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Tullahoma, where I have served since August of 2020. I also am a business owner, a zealous advocate for underserved needs in the community, a member of liaison to the Tullahoma Housing Authority, former member of the 911 Commission, former member of the Planning Commission in Tullahoma, and have served on multiple boards throughout this community and dealt with multiple budgets. I would consider myself a true public servant at heart, but I actually went to school to do this. My undergrad is political science with an emphasis in public administration. And then I taught high school while I put myself through law school, where I graduated in 2015 with my Doctor of Jurisprudence. I definitely believe in fiscal conservatism, lower taxes, and fair and equitable assessments in the property tax assessor's office. So I would appreciate your consideration in voting for Jenna Allmacher for property assessor.
Thank you, Allmacher. Ms. Fletcher, 3 minutes, please.
Would like to thank everyone. Can they hear me? Would like to thank everyone for coming tonight. My name is Alyssa Kill Fletcher. Of course, when my boss, Beverly Robertson, decided to retire in October, I put my paperwork in to run. Coffee County's been the home of my dad's family for over 5 generations. My mom's family moved here in the late 50s to come to work at AEDC. And my husband and I have been fortunate enough to raise a family here and work in this county as well. I love living in Coffee County. Would never live anywhere else. I've served in the Coffee County Property Assessor's Office for 30 years. Currently, I am the Chief Deputy Assessor, and I do all of the GIS mapping. I'm also a licensed registered nurse in Tennessee and have been on the weekends with the same family in Bedford County as a private duty nurse with them. I'm also a graduate of Motlow, MTSU, TCAT, and ETSU, and a current member of the Manchester Planning Commission. Some of the responsibilities of the Property Assessor's Office, basically our main duty is to appraise, assess, and classify every single piece of property in Coffee County. We do all of the mapping. If you ever go to TN assessment data, that's where most of the work that this office does can be found online. We collect characteristics of all the property, ownership information, verify real estate sales with their buyers, sellers, or real estate agents. Basically maintain all physical characteristics of the property using subdivision plats recorded in the register's office, building permits, and other documents usually recorded in the Register of Deeds office. It is a state law that this office conduct periodic reappraisals, and we have been on a 4-year schedule for reappraisal the whole 30 years that I've been there. We have done a reappraisal every 4 years. I've been through 9 of them at this point. And I failed to mention in Tullahoma, one of my favorite things about this office is that we are on a daily basis responding to closing companies, attorneys' offices, surveyors, lots of information going out of this office by phone, by email, copies of maps, copies of documents, just for research purposes. That's one of my favorite things about this office. Currently, we have a staff with over 100 years of experience, and of course, the staff, they understand all the responsibilities and just the amount of work going on in this office daily. Of course, if elected as property assessor, I will provide fair and efficient appraisals on the property, and I hope you will consider this information when you go to vote March 5th. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fletcher. Mr. Galston, you have 3 minutes, or up to 3 minutes, to make your opening statement.
I'd like to start by thanking the Coffee County Republican Party for putting this forum on, and for the high school for allowing us to use their facilities, and Mr. Clutter for you stepping in and being our moderator tonight. Most of all, I'd like to thank the folks that are in the audience and the people that may be listening. My name is William Hill Golston. I'm running for Coffee County Property Assessor. Myself and my wife Nancy graduated high school here. Our sons, our daughter-in-law, our son-in-law, and our grandchildren are all residents of Coffee County. My dad, Bill Golston, came to Coffee County, worked at the base, and retired from the base. And my mom, Colleen Golston, worked at area hospitals. As I said, my wife and I graduated from high school here. I entered the Marine Corps shortly after graduating high school. After my first enlistment, I went to college and I earned a Bachelor's of Science in Economics. And while I was doing that, I worked residential commercial construction to pay my way through school, and worked quite a bit more in that field afterwards. I got a commission in the Army and served in Tennessee in the Army, and Tennessee and the South Carolina Army National Guard. My wife got a position with Clemson University. We moved to South Carolina for a short time. I attended the College of Charleston Certified Financial Planning program, worked in financial services. We decided we wanted to move back to Coffee County, raise our children, and start our businesses here. I worked in financial services and tax practice. My wife had a vet practice. And after 9/11, I went back into the Marine Corps, and finally at age 41, I graduated Quantico through the basic school, being the oldest person to ever graduate through that school, and started my service as a Marine Corps officer at that time. It was my unique pleasure to serve as a commanding officer of 3 different Marine Corps units. I served with tanks in Iraq, and I served as an individual augmentee with the Marine Special Forces Command in Afghanistan. I served as an armor officer. I served as a combat engineer. I served on tank battalion staff, 1st Marine Expeditionary Force training, where I facilitated and planned training for that unit. I had graduate level studies through the Marine Corps Expeditionary Force School and through the Command and Staff School. And I ended up retiring from the Marine Corps in 2019. And since that time, or currently, I'm in my 8th year with the Coffee County Industrial Board, where I'm the chairman of Park Development Committee, and I'm a local realtor. I like to bring a fresh perspective into the office and take advantage of the leadership, maintenance, management, and organizational skills that I gained over being a small business owner and military career. And I'm asking for your vote. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Golston. Just hold on to the microphone.
Yes, sir.
We have questions that have been submitted by our audience this evening. We'll just rotate down and back and so on. You will have 1 minute and 15 seconds each to respond to the same question. If you need to repeat the question, there's no problem. I'll be glad to do that. Okay, so first question. What is the role of the property assessor, and how would you contribute to that role?
The role of the property assessor is to value taxable property, whether that's real property, residential or commercial, or personal property that's a business property, and also to record and keep records of that and provide that for the public, and to provide the tax roll for the trustee department, and to work with the other departments, whether it's the register of deed or the trustees department. And I would, as the department head, I would make sure that everyone's treated fairly and respectfully, and that everyone would know that they had equal opportunity and access to the office.
Thank you, Mr. Golston. Ms. Fletcher, would you repeat that question? What is the role of the property assessor, and how would you contribute to that role?
Well, as I already talked about, of course, that's the main thing this office does, appraising, assessing, and classifying every single piece of property in Coffee County. And on a daily basis, this office is, well, I just jotted down a few things. Just in 2023 tax year, because of all the growth this county has had, we added 300 parcels and 400 major structures since 2016, and I use 2016 because that's the year that the market really began its incline here. We've added 1,800 parcels and 2,200 major structures. In 1 year, I counted approximately 24,000 documents that this office would actually process, touch on a daily basis. About 3,000 documents that come from the registrar's office, like property ownership transfers, 200 greenbelt forms, electrical permits, notice of completion, COs from the codes office, and building permits. It's about 2,400. 152 plats recorded in the registrar's office last year, which have to be processed to be parceled in our office. 2,200 personal property forms keyed, 1,200 tax freeze applications keyed, 10,800 parcels reviewed a year, mandatory review by the state. An average on a normal year, 3,500 notices mailed out. So this is how I contribute. We're here doing this every day.
Thank you, Ms. Fletcher. Ms. Almacher, would you like me to repeat the question?
Sure, you may.
What is the role of the property assessor, and how would you contribute to that role?
So I'm not going to repeat any of what I've just heard. What these two said is absolutely the role of the property assessor's office. However, I would like to delineate between the property assessor's office and the role of the property assessor himself or herself. And that's really to be a specialist in public relations and a quality control specialist for the community. It is our job to make sure that everyone has accurate information, as we are a centralized hub of information, whether it be for characteristics on property or for information on how a property is classified versus how it's zoned. Also, I think it's our job to make sure that people understand that there are programs out there that the state provides over $41 million appropriated for tax relief every year. And so that doesn't come out of the rest of our individual citizenry, out of the general budget or anything like that for the Coffee County. It actually comes from the state, and how to apply for those funds if you're disabled or if you are in need of tax relief or a tax freeze. I think another important thing is to understand the strategic relationship between the county commission and the municipalities, and to make sure that the property assessor's office remains revenue neutral, and that we are not using that to increase taxes without increasing taxes.
Thank you, Ms. Almacher. If you just keep the microphone there, I'm going to come right back to you with the next question. As the county population grows, what do you see as the greatest challenges facing the office?
I'll go back to what I just said, to making sure that this office remains revenue neutral. So as my colleague just said, that right now we're on a 4, 5, or 6 year cycle all across the state, with Coffee County being on a 4-year reassessment cycle. There is a bill right now in the State General Assembly that could give the County Commission the opportunity to transition to a 2-year reassessment cycle, which would mean that potentially every 3 years, that means that it's no longer revenue neutral. Oftentimes, people think that their taxes were increased, or the county commission or the municipalities increased taxes, when in fact they did not increase taxes. It was a result of their assessments increasing. So I typically think that the hardest part about this position going forward is, as we grow and as all the changes are made and as subdivisions continue to develop, it's just making sure that our current property tax base is not kind of being used to foot the bill for all of this infrastructure coming in.
Thank you very much. I would like to remind all of our candidates that with these microphones, it seems to work best if you point it right at like you're singing. We want everybody to be able to hear well.
Nobody wants to hear us sing, I'm sure.
You may sing for 1 minute and 15 seconds. Okay, would you like me to repeat that question? As the county population grows, what do you see as the greatest challenges facing the office?
We had a similar question in Tullahoma, of course, a week and a half ago. As we said before, I think we all three talked about it at the time, with more growth, more homes, more population, more parcels, there's always going to be a need for more employees for services, more firemen, more street people, more people in our office, more teachers. There's always a need for more employees when there's more population. And Ms. Almacher is correct in that the only way to really make the property tax revenue neutral is either by other forms of revenue, or it would have to be a tourism tax, or nobody ever wants to talk about a wheel tax. But if you need more services, you've got to come up with revenue to provide provide those. So keeping the taxes, property taxes lower and still providing all the services, you either have to cut services or raise taxes. So,
Thank you, Ms. Fletcher. Mr. Goldston, would you like me to repeat that question for you, sir?
I think I've got it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there's no doubt that we're going to have continued growth in the county. It's been unprecedented for a couple of years now. With that continued growth, there are going to be continued increases in demand for services. A lot of that, with growth, you should have an increase in your revenue base. That's the ideal of having the revenue neutral laws for your taxes. But the biggest challenge will be being able to keep up with that growth through technology is one way we're going to have to look forward and do that, and also through team building. No one can do any of these departments, run any of these departments, or do any of these jobs on their own, and that's where I think I have a strength is in management and team building, and looking forward to the challenge and having more and more growth in here in a positive direction, but being able to service that growth as well.
Thank you, Mr. Goldston. If you'll keep the microphone, we'll move on to the next question that's been submitted from our audience. If you are the candidate to win the seat of property assessor, would you be prepared to start the first day building your own team if everyone quit?
I would be disappointed if that happened. I don't think that's unprecedented, though. But yes, I would. I would you'd have to have a plan to come up with that and overcome that challenge. I think there's outside assistance that you can get through the state and other counties if something like that were to happen. I mean, I appreciate loyalty, but I don't want to get into rumor, but I don't expect that to happen. I would be disappointed, but I will be prepared if that does happen. Like I said in my introduction, I have come into brand new units and built from the ground up, and I've also taken existing businesses and units and gone on from there, and have been very successful in it, and feel like I could do the same in both scenarios. I'd like to take advantage of the 100 years, maybe even 100 years plus of experience in the office that Ms. Fletcher spoke of. But yeah, you have to prepare for possibilities.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Goldston. Ms. Fletcher, same question. Would you like me to repeat that?
please.
If you are the candidate to win the seat of property assessor, would you be prepared to start the first day building your own team if everyone quit?
Well, just because I'm very proud of all of my coworkers. We really have fun in the office. We all get along very well, and as far as I know, right now everybody plans to stay. So I hope, as Mr. Goldston says, that we get to keep that 100 years of experience and everybody continue doing as we are doing now. But yes, I would have the knowledge and experience if a few of them decided they had better opportunities. I think I would have the knowledge to train, new staff.
Ms. Almark, would you like me to repeat that question?
No, sir, I think I got it.
Thank you.
So my experience has typically been with policy making and with budgets, and I would look forward to the opportunity to having that built-in team already ready to come in the door, and I would just be looking for new ways to make that efficient and to support and innovate and potentially be able to find new ways of appreciation and cultivating my team's talent. I absolutely think that Ms. Fletcher is doing a fabulous job in her position, and I would hate to see her change from that position only because she does such a wonderful job, and I would want to make sure that she is appreciated and gets to remain right where she's at and make sure that her talents are cultivated and that she doesn't want to go anywhere, along with the other employees in that office. Where my skill set comes in is, again, that public administration background, the ability to manage a large budget, and the ability to look at policies and figure out strategically how we can plan to be more proficient and efficient in the services that we provide.
Thank you very much. Just hold on to the microphone. We'll start with you on this next question. If elected property assessor, will you be the official who reaches out to know if the office can use more digitization, paperless, and streamlining of processes according to state guidelines? For example, tax records only get updated one time per year.
Yes. So the Division of Property Assessments across the state, that is one of their tasks, is to help create education and potential opportunities to learn more about standardized record keeping and computerizing and digitizing all of the files, ensuring those up-to-date, equitable property tax bases and classifications, and to ensure a high degree of competency of appraisal knowledge and how to do that and implement that strategically within the office. When you have, as Ms. Fletcher told us last week, when you have 33,000 properties that you are classifying and maintaining and updating, you have to be on top of your game when it comes to digitization. And I grew up in the generation that learned how to do it and learned how to do it well, and I am pretty proficient at all things computers and digitization.
Thank you, Ms. Almacher. Ms. Fletcher, same question. Would you like me to repeat that? If elected for property assessor, will you be the official who reaches out to know if the office can use more digitization, going paperless, streamlining the processing according to state guidelines? For example, tax records only get updated one time per year.
The actual appraisals that we work on during the week, every week, are updated every Saturday online on TM Property Data. The appraised values are updated every week on Saturday. What you're calling, I think maybe what the person is referring to as a tax record, your actual tax bill is printed one time a year. All 32,000 real estate parcels and 2,200 personal property parcels printed once a year, every year, usually around August or September. Those are the books that are maintained in the trustee's office. But those books are printed once a year, every year, as the parcel ownership is on January 1. So however the property is, January 1 is what's in the book in August or September when they're printed. But every week in our office, as we are updating plats, deeds, ownership, new subdivisions, every Saturday night, there's new information downloaded that you're, well, I say Saturday night, that's what the day looks like on the GIS updating system. Saturday night updates, and then Monday morning you can see what we have entered a week at a time on the appraisal, not necessarily the tax bill. So it's, and that was one of the things we were asked if we could streamline some. I did have a note that I do wish to state there's two different systems, the TN assessment data and then the TN map viewer. They're actually maintained by two different divisions at the state level. I wish they were more correlated.
Thank you, Ms. Fletcher. Mr. Goldston, same question. Would you like me to repeat that?
Yes, please.
If elected property assessor, will you be the official who reaches out to know if the office can use more digitization, paperless, and streamlining of processing according to state guidelines? For example, tax records only get updated one time per year.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to start off by saying, yeah, the buck stops here when you're the official in the office. So yeah, absolutely, I would be that person. And one way I would go about that is look at lessons learned and best practices, not only within this office, but within offices throughout the state and throughout the nation, and look for ways of innovation using technology. We mentioned several times here leaning on the state for education and for resources, but even outside the state, there's some possibilities of people being able to opt in. I don't think it's available now, opting in for different services such as email notification, email information. There is information online that Ms. Fletcher pointed out already, but as technology increases, not only in the use of evaluating these properties that we're talking about with growth, but also the services that we provide to the citizens as far as how they get their information and how they have access to the office. So yes, I would definitely be that person.
Thank you, Mr. Galston. Hold on to that microphone. Next question comes to you. Do you believe that there may be favoritism shown to some property owners?
I'm not certain about that. I will say that my personal experience is, and other people I talk to, they get good service out of the office. There's always a thought that may happen, but I don't know of any evidence that that's the case. And I know that it would not be the case under my leadership. But I have no indication right now that it's necessarily going on in this office or has in the past. Anytime you live in a small community like this, things are said, so on and so forth. As I said earlier, I don't want to go on rumor or anything like that. I don't know of any evidence of that happening, but it would not happen under my leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Galston. Ms. Fletcher, same question. Would you like me to repeat that?
Of course, we would like to think that this is county office, open to anybody that has any questions. All the information in the office, maintained in the office, is public. It's all online. If you ever have a question about your appraisal, we hope when you come to the office, we hope it's approachable. We hope we provide good answers. If you have questions, or send you to the correct area. If you have questions that we can't answer, send you to the correct office. And as far as being favoritism, I've mentioned in Tullahoma, each year we mandatorily review 10,800 parcels on a 3-year cycle. Then on the 4th year cycle, we review the whole 32,000 real estate parcels again. And if the state of Tennessee then reviews behind our mandatory review, so they would find inequity. If there's, if there's not really, the office would not do that anyway, but the fairness behind it would be having property appraised or assessed accurately, not having buildings assessed to your property that don't belong there, or not having a neighbor's garage assessed on you when it doesn't belong there. So, plus the state of Tennessee monitors and audits behind everything we do in the office, so that's where I think the fairness comes in.
Thank you, Ms. Fletcher. Ms. Allmarker, would you like me to repeat that question?
No, sir, I think I got it. So I think that historically, there are certain individuals in Coffee County, and we'll just call it out like we say it, the good old boy system. And the good old boy system has long existed, but it exists outside of the property assessor's office, but it does exist. And I believe that, there are certain individuals that have certain relationships with different offices that they deal with, probably on a more frequent basis, that they probably get maybe a little higher level of service. And maybe that's a natural outcome of how often those individuals deal with certain offices. But, blessed and highly favored is Tullahoma. We have, our real and personal property is assessed at approximately, in total value, $530 million, whereas Manchester's is only assessed at $333 million. Maybe we have more properties. I mean, we're only 25 square miles of the entire county. But I would like to look at some of those numbers and see if I would have to be in the office to see that. Tax increment financing, if you don't know what that is where for underserved or developed properties, you can apply to get tax increment financing. And I believe that might be a form of favoritism through corporate welfare. reach out to me more if you want to know more about what tax increment financing is.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Salmacher. Hold on to that microphone. Next question. What is the current budget of the property assessor's office?
The current budget for this year is a little over $400,000. And, you know, what's interesting, I was looking, there are two actual budgets that really I think the property assessor probably has control over. One's for approximately about $360,000. And then the other is for a reappraisal program that's valued at approximately $80,000. However, one of the things that I did see is that between those two programs, the property assessor's office has increased its budget approximately $70,000 over the past 2 years. And $70,000 in an office with a total $400,000 general budget is quite a bit. And so I wonder, you know, obviously I think that some of the, I've talked to several of the representatives, and I feel like if they don't ask for it, if they don't get it budgeted in there, they feel like they're going to lose it. So maybe they ask for more and hope to use less. But I definitely think that we can get that number down.
Thank you, Ms. Salmacher. Ms. Fletcher, that's to you next. Would you like me to repeat that question?
Actually, our total budget right now between the two line items, which is our main budget and then the reappraisal program, is $516,000. And our budget in 2022 was $467,000, which was an increase of 3.5%, which was exactly the amount of growth on the back of the Coffee County tax roll between the 22 and 23 tax years. And I pulled several adjoining counties tried to find comparable parcel counts. We have 32,000 real estate parcels in Coffee County, like I said, with a budget of $516,000. Dixon County has the next closest amount of real parcels, 28,000 and some odd, with a budget of $485,000. Franklin County has a parcel count, real estate parcel count, 26,600 parcels with a budget of $741,000. So we're $200,000 less than Franklin County. Bedford County has 23,000, almost 800 parcels with a budget of $680,000, which we're almost $100,000 less than Bedford County. So in my personal opinion, I think we're staying in compliance with the state with the lesser budget than some adjoining counties.
Thank you, Ms. Fletcher. Mr. Golston, same question to you. Do you need me to repeat that?
Read it again. Yes, sir.
What is the current budget of the property assessor's office?
Yeah, what else can I do with the numbers? They've been given to you. What I can tell you is that my experience with budgets on a federal level and on a personal level as a small business owner, I'm a small government Republican conservative. So I would be as frugal with the budget of the taxpayers as I was with my own budget in my business. There are times that you have to spend money, and there are times that you can look for savings, but not at the expense of service. So, yes, there's no need of rehashing the numbers. We've been given those. I would just tell you my experience with the numbers and how I would approach that responsibility.
Thank you, Mr. Golston. Question to you.
We should move into closing statements.
Okay, we're running short on time. Okay, got you. Appreciate that, sir. Okay, so as long as you have the microphone, you have 2 minutes for a closing statement, please.
Well, I'd like to say again, I appreciate everybody coming out, and I would like to again say how much respect I have for my fellow candidates here and all the people that are elected and the people that are brave enough to get out here and do this. It's not easy. I'm learning more and more about it. This is my first time in the political arena. More respect for people on every platform. I would like to say that, when I talk so much about my military background, there's something that you need to keep in mind, being a little advocate for military here. If you're in any branch of the service, your experience goes way beyond your military occupational specialty. Specifically, as you go on in your career, you become more of a manager and a person. that works with other people, whether it's other branches of service or other people from other countries or civilians. We work with civilians a lot. So anytime you talk to anybody that's been in the military and they've got some sort of NCO, staff NCO, or even higher experience, just recognize that they're not the sum of just infantry or whatever skill they have. They're have a lot of opportunities to manage people from the ground level up. So that's something that people need to appreciate, and that's the kind of experience that I hope to bring to the Office of Property Assessor. And I would ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Golston. Ms. Fletcher, you have 2 minutes for a closing statement.
And I would like to thank Mr. Goldston for his service. Again, I always go back to talking about the amount of experience in this office. I've said the staff currently has over 100 years. Of course, the amount of growth coming in the county, we all understand the responsibilities and the amount of work that goes into assessing all the property in Coffee County. And again, my name is Alyssa Fletcher, and I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fletcher. Ms. Almacher, 2 minutes for a closing statement.
Yes, sir. So I would just appreciate everybody's support. I would like to clarify one thing. My figures were based on the 2023 audit. I did not have access to the current 2024 numbers, but that's interesting that the budget would have increased approximately $359,000 from 2021 to over $500,000. I would like to say that our county is in $54 million worth of debt, and we only have $10 million in reserves. So every $100,000 or $50,000 or $5,000 matters when you're that far behind the mark. We have approximately $36 million in property taxes, both real and commercial and otherwise, that we bring into this. And I talked to Mr. Marchesoni today. He's collected approximately $23 million of that already for this year. So our county is in a position to be in a much better place than it is right now. And so I feel like with more conservative fiscal management, with policies that streamline the office, we can make the property assessor's office work even more efficient than it's already working. So thank you. Please consider voting for Jenna Almacher for property assessor.
Thanks, Ms. Almacher, and thank you to all the candidates for your willingness to serve our community. Give us just a moment. We'll get our names. Give us just a moment. We'll get everything rearranged and have our next group of candidates up in just a moment.
All right, one more hand round for our candidates, please. All right, give us just a minute to change out name tags, and we'll. Your candidates for Coffee County School Board Seat 1, which include districts 1, 3, and 4, like North Manchester and kind of the northern part of the county. They're running for a 4-year term for 1 seat. 3 candidates, 1 seat, with Ms. Holly Matthews, Gary Nestor, and Sherry Petty. Welcome. All you, Rob.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we're going to start with opening statements. Ms. Matthews, you have the microphone there, so I'm going to let you begin. You have 3 minutes for an opening statement.
Good evening, Coffee County. My name is Holly Matthews, and I'm running for Coffee County School Board Seat 1. I'm a Coffee County native, born and raised here, a 1998 graduate of Coffee County Central High. After high school, I went on to MTSU and became a graduate of 2001, getting a Bachelor of Business Administration with emphasis in computer information systems. I'm in my 20th year of employment with Jacobs Technology in Tullahoma. I have been in and around education all of my life. My dad taught and coached for 42 years in both city and county systems. I am a full-time working mom, like most of you, and I have a daughter who's been enrolled in Coffee County schools for 8 years now. She is a 7th grader at Coffee County Middle School. I want to fill the position of Seat 1 on the Coffee County Board of Education because I believe in public education. I believe every child should have a safe and equal access to a quality and diverse system that will prepare them for life. I want you teachers, you parents, and you grandparents to have access to me, and I want you to know that I will listen, I will be your voice, and I will represent you with absolutely no personal agenda, but with transparency and accountability. Parents, I want to keep you informed, and I want to see you at board meetings, speaking without obstacles before you. I firmly believe that unity is strength. It is imperative that safety in our schools is our highest priority. Nothing comes ahead of actively protecting our children and our teachers. I want to see our system be vigilant in this and proactive rather than reactive. Furthermore, I realize our students' well-being, along with their emotional and mental health needs, is a critical piece of the solution to our success. Folks, it is no secret that our schools have issues with student bullying and school violence. I am committed to navigating the barriers and working with our administrators, our counselors, and looking at other systems around the country so that we can defeat this system-wide crisis. With love, passion, and my conservative values as a foundation, I have many other goals I plan to accomplish for the students, teachers, and families of this community. I'm anxious to share my ideas with you. I want to encourage each of you to bring your opinions and your concerns to me. I'd like to thank those of you who've reached out, and I look forward to building stronger relationships. Please join me on this journey, and together, let's get to work. Please consider voting for me, Holly Matthews.
Thank you, Ms. Matthews. Mr. Nestor, you have 3 minutes for an opening statement.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you all for coming tonight. And I especially want to thank the Coffee County Republican Party for sponsoring this forum. My name is Gary Nestor. I moved to Manchester in 1966. I attended Manchester City Schools and Coffee County Schools for my entire primary and secondary education. I graduated Manchester Central High in this building in 1981. Then I went to the University of Tennessee, where I was in Knoxville for 7 years. And I received a Bachelor of Science in Agriculture and a Doctorate of Veterinary Medicine in 1988. In the summers and while I was an undergraduate, I would return to Manchester and I established a truck farm where I raised and marketed vegetables to farmers markets and restaurants in this and surrounding counties. And that was my job during the summer. And that allowed me to fund my veterinary education, and so I was able to graduate without debt when I came out. Once I graduated in 1988, I entered into private practice and began a farming operation also. On May 1st, 1995, with $10,000 borrowed from my mother, one employee, and the help and guidance from the good Lord, I established All Creatures Veterinary Clinic in Manchester, Tennessee. This is a mixed animal veterinary practice that grew and expanded to other locations in Monteagle, Tullahoma, and Morrison, to 4 locations with the help of my partners that I brought on and a wonderful staff. All Creatures Veterinary Clinic now has grown to employ over 70 active employees and has hired over 10 doctors that are currently living in our county, working and paying taxes for the citizens of Coffee County. I'm still practicing veterinary medicine, performing surgeries 1 day a week and performing medicine at the Manchester location. I have 2 children that completed their K through 12 years also in the Manchester and Coffee County systems. One will receive her doctorate this spring from the University of Tennessee in veterinary medicine and is headed to Dallas, Texas to continue her emergency medicine training. The other one works and lives in Coffee County and is the father of my grandchild, River. River will enter our schools in a couple of years, and I'm extremely excited about that. I have served the community as long as working here in many ways. I served 2 terms on the Manchester Area Chamber of Commerce. I've served on the board of the Coffee County Grundy County Cattlemen's Association. On September of 2012, I came onto the Coffee County School Board. I have served for nearly 12 years. The last 3 years, I have been a sitting chairman. I was elected by the board to serve as their chair, which I have accepted and served. And I would encourage you to look back. My record speaks for itself. I rarely miss a meeting. In 12 years, I have missed 3 or 4. That's one every 3 to 4 years. I've never passed on a vote, and I won't in the future. So you will be represented by my presence and my vote. I am a strong advocate of continuing our education and remaining physically active, even when we leave the primary and the secondary schools. I obtained a pilot's license after I was 40, and I became instrument rated in fixed-wing aircraft. And so I still have both of these ratings at this time. And I'm active and I enjoy the outdoors. I've climbed Cotopaxi a couple years ago, and I'm heading to Patagonia in the near future and hiked 800 miles of the Appalachian Trail. That's a little about me, and now we'll get down to the business of schools.
Thank you, Dr. Nestor. Thank you, Dr. Nestor. Ms. Petty, you have 3 minutes for your opening statement.
Okay, thank you. My name is Sherry Petty, and the last 30 years of my life have pretty much revolved around education in some way or another. I have a master's degree in education with an emphasis on classroom excellence. My dissertation was on distracted learners. Most of the work I've done has been in public school, but I've worked in a private school before. I've done some homeschooling. I'm currently finishing a level 1 training in the Wilson Reading System, which is a company that puts out foundations. So a lot of teachers use that, a lot of schools use that in their K-3 program. It supplements reading, and it just gives me skills to be a reading coach. I have 4 children. Our oldest went through the entire school program here in Coffee County and graduated in 2015. And our youngest is at the middle school and is loving that experience. As a parent, we have experienced the struggles that come with having a severely sick child and how that affects their education. And we've also experienced the problems that come with having a child with a disability and teaching that child how to advocate for themselves. We know about IEPs, not just from the educational standpoint, but from a parent standpoint. My husband is a pastor here and has pastored for almost 17 years. And so through that, I have been the children's director and have done that for over 10 years. Through our work, we really decided that leadership was important. So we took that on as something we wanted to create. So we actually have gone through extensive training in leadership on a corporate level, and by using those things and applying them to what we do in ministry, we've actually just doubled in attendance, and we've learned a lot about how to be leaders. It's really a big part of who I am and what I do. So as a parent, a teacher, a leader, I feel like I bring the experience that comes from dealing with all those challenges and with all those joys, I guess. So that's just a little bit about me, and I'm hoping that this is a good fit.
Thank you very much. Ms. Petty, just keep the microphone there, and we'll start with you with the first question. What is the role of a school board member, and how can you contribute to that role?
Okay. Well, the role of a school board member, you become part of a corporate body that makes decisions, and the basic management of all the public schools is going to be under your jurisdiction. You hire the director of schools and oversee that. You manage policy, and that's pretty important. And you manage policy and you manage the budget. So there's a budget stewardship that comes with that role. You oversee tenure of the tenure of teachers. And I think really by the second part of that question said something about how did you say that? Uh-oh, I'm losing my time.
And how would you contribute to that?
Well, you're going to contribute to it. I would hope every member is going to contribute to that, but you need to be learned, I guess. You need to have studied each of those areas that your role encompasses so that you can be effectively part of that governing body.
Thank you very much, Ms. Petty. Dr. Nestor, would you like me to repeat that question for you?
Yes, please.
What is the role of a school board member, and how would you contribute to that role?
That's a very easy question to answer. There's basically 3 responsibilities for being on the school board. A lot of times people think that we're responsible for everything. We have control in the schools, and we do have some controls, but here's our jobs. We hire and fire the director. That's our number 1 responsibility. Number 2, we derive the policy and we approve the policy. And number 3, the budget is brought to us and we set the budget or modify the budget. Those are our 3 responsibilities. And in order to be a good and effective school board member, you need to do your job, you need to concentrate on what you're responsible for, and you need to let the people that are hired to do their jobs. So as a school board member, although we are overseers, we need to know what we need to be overseeing, and it's very simple. It's written down, we're taught that, and it's understood. And so to stay focused, let people do their job, and do your job as a school board member is what you need.
Thank you, Dr. Nestor. Ms. Matthews, would you like me to repeat that question?
I got it. Thank you. I'm just going to have to basically say I agree with Gary on that. The role of the school board to public education is to hire and evaluate your director, establish a set of policies and make sure that those policies adhere to state law, and manage the school district's budget. How I would contribute in this role, I would also add that I would like to bridge that communication gap between the board and the public by keeping the community informed on a regular basis. And also as far as hiring and evaluating the director, possibly even ask for the director to give us a statement of his vision for the school system. But that's what I feel like. I feel like the role of the school board member is exactly what these 2 said right here.
Thank you, Ms. Matthews. Hold on to that microphone, because the next question is going to come back to you, and then we'll go that way. If the state of Tennessee passes a voucher or scholarship type program, how will the school systems adjust to the potential impact?
I honestly think that in general, this would probably not really affect our area as much as it would affect more urban areas where private education is much more prevalent and sought after. However, I think the main concern from most citizens regarding the vouchers is that it would take money away from public education and our funding. I believe it was just last week, Governor Lee stated that it is currently written to not do that. I think that is something that we would want to stay on top of and make sure that that does not happen and that we're not pulling money from public education. I believe that this is more of, if you were concerned about this getting passed, if I were a concerned citizen, I would want to contact my state legislators and state how I felt about the program and mention how important it is for our tax dollars to stay in public education.
Thank you, Ms. Matthews. Dr. Nestor, would you like me to read that question?
Yes, sir. Please read the question.
If the state of Tennessee passes a voucher or scholarship type program, how would this implementation of said program impact our school systems?
It would dramatically impact our school system. Let me be perfectly clear in saying that the voucher is actually an attack on the public system, and it will affect our financing, because what's going to happen is we're going to lose dollars that would come to us that go, there's so many dollars that's available from the state, and we're going to lose those dollars in our system. And so do I think it's going to directly affect Coffee County schools? Absolutely, if it passes. The governor is promoting the voucher system. It did fail this time, but it'll be back. And it's a financial problem. And we say, well, hey, the state is handing out these dollars, and the state can do with them what they want. But I'm telling you, as residents of Coffee County, we are the state. We are paying these state dollars. They're going to the state, and then they're handing them back out to us, but they're starting with us, okay? So they're our dollars. And we have to remember that even though the state has control, they're coming out of our pocket. And so anything such as vouchers that affects our money that we pay in taxes that goes to the state and they disperse back out can be a real problem to our system.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Petty, would you like me to repeat that question for you? Thank you.
Yeah, the voucher system, the voucher program is actually something I would probably fall a little bit between both of you, because I agree. We do not have a lot of options here except for homeschooling, but I think that there will be a lot of people that will take that opportunity, and it will have a direct impact on us. However, if you really start to look at it, you'll see that there's strings that are tied to that, and so there's a lot of people that will not be interested in that. So you might see kind of an effect, and then you'll see people come back into the school system. I really believe that it's not something that we can evaluate very clearly yet, because it keeps changing. Last week, they had made some new amendment to it at Thursday. So I think what I would like to see is the full bill and be able to really study it. So I think it's something that's coming.
Thank you very much. You just hold on to that. I'm going to kind of, we have several questions that are the same, so our audience here is kind of on the same page. So I'm going to kind of try to combine a couple of these because I think they're related. In what ways are Coffee County schools not equitable? Is equity important to you in education? Is diversity a major goal for you in education? And what is your stance on these topics?
Okay, so we cannot guarantee equity of outcomes for all students. We can give them equal opportunities to a quality education, but we cannot guarantee equal outcomes. Now, here's what I think is interesting. I don't know if I have enough time to tell this, but if you think of like a football game, and in the football game, everybody has a fair opportunity. You swap sides of the field, you use the same ball. So that is equal opportunities, and of course we believe in that, and we're going to strive for that. But Equity is where everybody wins. You have a tie. The game will always end in a tie, and that's something you cannot guarantee in a school setting. So that's my answer for equity versus equality. But what about the part about diversity? We have diversity in the school, and we're always going to encourage our children to have diverse opinions, and we're going to treat everyone the same way. So I would think that equal opportunities would be the same as saying that diversity is something that we would always encourage, I guess, or we would never want to stifle kids.
Thank you, Ms. Petty. And Dr. Nestor, same question?
Could you repeat the question, please?
I can. In what ways are Coffee County schools not equitable, and how would you change it? Is equity important to you in education, and is diversity a major goal for education?
Yes, diversity is a major goal, and one thing that we've seen in our system lately is that instead of preparing all of our students to be college ready, we're finding that the trades are a tremendous asset for our community, the businesses around, and so we have explored and expended a lot of money getting our students ready for the workforce and with training before they leave. And so we want to give diversity. We want to give you the opportunity in our schools, and I think that we do that. I think that we have split this out, and there are opportunities to choose whatever route you want, but we need to keep offering what businesses want. We need to keep offering what corporations want, and we need to keep educating our kids and giving them the resources to achieve these things. I think that so we want to be diverse. Are we going to be, do we have equity? I believe we do. We do have the ability to, or we give, I feel like, the students equal opportunities to pick what they want. One of the things in equity that we have to remember is that the school is part of the education, and we also need to be able to get the parents and the children on board. When we have their help, that also makes us offer more diversity, and will be our equity is better too. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nestor. Ms. Matthews, do you need me to read that again?
I think
You
I've got it.
Okay.
Thank you. Of course, I do think equity is very important throughout the system. I think that our system offers equal opportunities for all students from all different cultures, and I think what we need to recognize is that all students are unique and they learn in different ways. I think that our values as a system does represent equity, and of course diversity is always encouraged, and I feel like we are a diverse system now. For example, the CTE programs here at the high school, not every student is thinking about a university path when they graduate, and I've seen a big push lately on these CTE programs and vocational training, and I think those programs are just as important and just as valuable as our children who are coming through with their sights set on a university path.
Thank you, Ms. Matthews, and we'll.
Let's make that the last question and move on into closing statements.
So, as Greg said, we'll start with you, Holly, because you've got the microphone right there. You have 2 minutes for a closing statement.
Okay, there are a few other initiatives that I'd like to add to the ones I mentioned in my opening statement. These include recognizing the growth that our county is experiencing, and our board being able to budget resources to accommodate this growth. I think our board needs to look at upgrading facilities to accommodate the growth in population and add teachers and staff where needed. Something else I'd like to focus on is teacher retention. When a teacher leaves his or her position mid-school year, learning for our students comes to a halt. It is crucial that we explore ways to effectively retain our teachers with competitive salaries and benefits and providing quality professional development for them. I would like to also see an increased emphasis aimed towards our CTE and vocational programs. Skills learned in this program impact our community daily. I think it is most important that this school board work together as a team and be able to stop and acknowledge the things that don't appear to be working and the areas where we need to bridge the gap or think outside of the status quo. The three most important things that we can teach students are critical thinking skills, building an honorable citizen with good character, and how to get along with others and work together. On a final note, I want to make you aware that days or even hours before this election, you may receive a robo-phone call or a spam text message stating that there is only one conservative candidate on the ballot for seat 1. I can assure you that you will not get anything of this nature from me. But I want to clarify this with all you citizens in districts 1, 3, and 4. Remember, there is not one, but 3 conservative choices on the ballot, and I'd like to ask you to look for my name, Holly Matthews. Vote for me. Thank you, and thank you for coming out tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Matthews. Dr. Nestor, 2 minutes for a closing statement, please.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for attending. And I just want to close in saying that our board needs to be diverse too. I do not come, we have several board members that have an education background. I come from a more business background and just being associated with the community. But I do understand how the dollars are generated that come into our school, and I do enjoy, and I think we are doing a really good job of watching how these dollars are spent. I want to close in saying that I am not running for a private school board position. I'm not running for a homeschool board position. I'm running for seat 1 of Coffee County Public Schools. Okay? I'm 100% in and committed to public schools in this county, and that includes Tullahoma and Manchester, because they're our sister schools, and we all have to use the same tax dollars, and we all have to get along. And the better we all do, the better community we're going to have. I have no agenda other than to fight for a free, high-quality public education for our 4,200 students and provide a stable, rewarding work environment for our 800 employees and protect our taxpayers and provide them value for every dollar they spend. Thank you, and re-elect me for Coffee County seat School Board number 1.
Thank you, Dr. Nestor. Ms. Petty, 2 minutes for a closing statement, please.
Yes, my name is Sherry Petty, and as you know, I am a current candidate for Coffee County School Board Seat 1 as well as with these. And I just would like to say that if I am elected, I want to ensure excellence and integrity in the education that we put forth here in Coffee County. I want to practice conservative financial stewardship of the budget with input from teachers and parents. And just like Holly has mentioned several times, I really believe that we need to create a stronger collaboration between parents and teachers and the school board. The school board needs to be accessible. There needs to be a way for them to contact us quickly, so that I believe that the 5-day rule is not very feasible. I think the time is not feasible. So those are the things that I value, and if I'm elected, those are the things that I will stand for. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. States. We appreciate you taking the time out this evening to be here with us, and we appreciate your willingness to serve our community. We're going to get set up for our next group. Be with you in just a moment.
Don't go anywhere. We've got a few other things to do tonight, and it won't take long. Let's do that from down here. So you've heard from all the contested candidates for contested races. There are still several things that will be on the ballot that are uncontested. But we wanted you to at least meet those candidates that will be on the ballot that you can vote for. The first thing on the itinerary, Ms. Dow Jones is running for a 2-year term, County Commission District 1, after the passing of her husband, Benny, well loved by so many of us. Now, Dow could not be here tonight. She is out of town at a funeral with a friend. So Dow could not be. And her daughter was here earlier, but I think her daughter has exited. So we'll move on from Dow, but she'll be on the ballot for District County Commission District 1. Next, Coffee County School Board, seat 2. That's the southern part of Manchester and then kind of the eastern portion of the county. Gary Cordell is going to be on the ballot. There's 2 candidates and 2 seats, so there's no race. But Gary Cordell was going to be here, but he is sick with COVID, so keep Gary Cordell in your prayers. But we do have Scott here tonight. I've seen Scott. Scott, come on up. Scott is running for this seat, and I wanted you to take 3 minutes, Scott, and just introduce yourself to the good citizens of Coffee County.
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate that. For some of you that most of you probably already know me, I'm kind of switching gears a lot from what I've done before. I recently got a job closer to home, so that allows me to be here, to be able to get to the meetings where I was not, before I was working in Nashville and wasn't able to get to the meetings. But since I've switched jobs, I've got the opportunity and to run for school board or to be in the school board now, I guess, uncontested. But I lived here all of my life, went to school here, went to East Coffee, graduated from here in 1982. Just some of the things that some of the other candidates have talked about tonight. I'm real compassionate about the vocational things that's coming up, and I'm also on the industrial board, and so our county is fixing to, in the next 5 to 10 to 20 years, is about to explode. We have the I-24 industrial park out here that we just turned over to the state, and of course we're going to be recruiting for employees, and so there's going to be a lot of jobs that's going to be coming to Manchester. And it's also, I don't want to touch on this, but I don't know that there's very many people that's more compassionate about Coffee County schools than myself. I've built had a lot to do with our building of a heating facility that my son we built over here 20 years ago. So the students of Coffee County is very important to me, and their futures here as well. But we have a lot of issues. Some of them were talked about tonight. Our school vouchers, it's going to be a big issue that's going to be coming up. And our substitute teachers, we have a big problem with substitute teachers, keeping them, as well as getting teachers for our vocational schools. We have a TCAP that's going to be built here in the spring. It's going to be started, but there's a lot of issues that I hope to work with other school board members that's coming up that we can resolve and hopefully get together. One of my districts is in Tullahoma as well, and look forward to working with them, and I look forward to working with our school board members that are presently that are already there, and I think that we have a lot to do and a lot that we can accomplish in the coming years. And I appreciate y'all for coming out tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you so much. Next, County School Board Seat 3, which represents the northern half of Tullahoma, and then the District 5 all around the lake. Is a 4-year term, 2 seats, 2 candidates, 2 seats, no race, but Mr. Robert Gilly could not be here tonight. He is traveling out of the country, I believe, but Miss Beth Yinch is here. Beth, please come up and tell us about yourself.
I have a podium today. Hi, my name is Beth Yinch, and I'm running for Seat 3, District 5, 8, and 9. A little bit about myself. I have a pretty varied background, which I think is really going to help me in making decisions on the school board. It's going to allow me to look at things from many different angles. I was an RN, and then I had my first baby. And I stayed home for the next 25 years, and during that time, I homeschooled my kids. I didn't homeschool my kids because it was a bad school system. They were going to North Coffee, which was one of the greatest school systems I think that we have in our county. I wanted my kids home. And it was my opportunity to put my values in them and make sure that they understood our family values. When my youngest finally went to Coffee County High School, I returned to nursing through a refresher course at Harton Hospital. I then went into medical sales, so I know both operating out of the business side and as a homeschool parent. And then I returned to school because I so loved teaching when I was teaching my own kids that I wanted to be involved with teaching other people's kids because kids are my passion. And so I returned to school and I got a degree in art education. And I taught in the Rutherford County system because one thing I'd like to see changed is we don't have many art teachers. We don't have elementary art teachers here in our county. And I think that art education is important because the same skills you use in engineering, you use in art. It's that creative mind, what can I make? And so I think it's important, and that's one area that I'd love to see us be able to come up with the budget to bring more art teachers in. I was able to teach for several years, but then I had to leave the school system because my parents began to have a great deal of medical problems, and so I began to go back and forth to help them. I think that my background gives me a heart to understand both public school and homeschooling. And Dr. Nestor said, I'm totally devoted to the public school. Well, I think that my background will allow me to help the public school understand why we're having such a bleeding in our public schools going into the home schools. And I think that knowledge and that background that I have will be helpful. I know the battles of teaching. Oh, goodness. I'm always so long. But I just want to say that I love Coffee County. I love our kids. And I want our kids to have a chance at the most innocence that they can have as they're growing up. And I want to help to see that that happens. Yeah, I hear you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Beth. Thank you, Beth. Man, Susan, you've been rough on that bell today. I appreciate that. You've been good. Just a couple of closing statements. Well, actually, there is one other seat. Manchester School Board is a 4-year term, 2 seats. Susan Parsley could not be here tonight. Lee Sullivan, you've already heard from, running for County Commission, and I think, Lee, are you still here? Well, you met Lee, so he's been serving on the school board already. He is an incumbent, but he's doing that again also. He's a glutton for punishment, I guess. But hey, so just in closing, so this is our second forum. We had a forum January 27th in Tullahoma that was successful also. just really appreciate everyone coming out, being engaged, some great questions. Please give us your email out front. We will not wear you out with emails, but we'll keep you informed of what our party's doing. We try to bring in interesting speakers and have good events. Early voting starts February 14th. That's 9 days away, early voting for this March 5th primary. Election day is March 5th. And to let you know that PHEAD Productions has filmed this tonight, and it will be on YouTube. So just heads up to that. You can watch if you want to catch some of the questions you might not have listened to or heard that well. There's some voter registration forms out front. I'm sure the candidates would be happy to meet with you and talk with you. I'm sure there's still time for that. If you want to make a donation to the Coffee County Republican Party, we accept those. They wouldn't let us just have this room tonight. We had to pay for it. We always need help that. And I was sent a whole box full of newspapers out there, the Epic, Times, whatever. It's good stuff. So please take one of those. I don't want to carry those home with me. Take one of those Epic newses out there. But that's all I've got. Thank you for coming. Godspeed, and don't forget to vote in a few days and drag people with you. Thank you.